Hello everybody, Jim Hickey here. Going to go through the process by which you can actually get a self-hosted WordPress blog that you can either use for blogging purposes or developing a website installed on your own hosting account. Okay, and this is a process that's fairly straightforward once you know what you're doing, and of course it assumes a few things. One thing is that you first have done the research and identified and registered a domain name at a domain registrar like Namecheap or GoDaddy or similar type of service. Two, that you have a hosting account. Something in the case of what I'm going to go through today is a membership site that I'm associated with, I'm a member of, Chris Farrell Membership, has providing as part of their membership fee free hosting, at least to a limited extent, to our members. So I'm going to actually go in and set up a new site at Chris Farrell Hosting. Now another place you might do that is someplace like JustHost or Bluehost or HostGator or HostMonster. And the process in all those cases would be pretty much similar because they all use the same type of interface to do that, something called cPanel. Okay, but again, I'm going to do this specifically account that I already have going at Chris Farrell Hosting. Okay, so where do I want to go? Well, I have this cPanel logout screen going. I already have something, an initial domain set at Chris Farrell Hosting, bassfishingnotebook.com. I'm going to want to install what's referred to as an add-on domain here for a domain that I just purchased or just registered via Namecheap, one of those domain registrars. And in order to do that, I have to, one, log on to my cPanel account. So in order to do that, I'm just going to drop this down because I know it's right here. The cPanel login would be the domain name, and then immediately following the domain that you might have seen a moment ago was /cPanel. It'll bring up the logon box with your password and your logon identification. Once you log on, you actually open up into cPanel. Now, the really cool thing about cPanel, it has a bunch of menus and submenus that allow you to do a lot of things to maintain your hosting account. And two of those factors, those menus or services within cPanel include things that make installing WordPress particularly easy. One, since I already have this hosting account set up there, I can just add another domain on using this add on domains feature. And then two, and this is what will actually install WordPress. If most of these cPanel accounts, it includes something called Fantastico Deluxe. And when you open up Fantastico, one of the options is installing various types of web programming platforms. One of those happens to be WordPress, and it's literally almost a one-button installation to do that. So we'll be walking through all this. But before we go there, there's something we have to do first. When you set up your account at one of these hosting services like Chris Farrell Hosting, they're going to send you an email with your logon information. In that email, they'll also have something identified that are referred to as name servers. And these are basically the way in which web browsers and the web system, the internet, keeps track of where your actual website will exist. Okay, so I'm about to tell Namecheap, or actually I already done this, I've already entered this information, you'll see that in a moment, that I need to forward that domain to Chris Farrell Hosting on these two name servers. Okay, and in order to do that, I'm going to switch back over here, click on this tab which has my Namecheap account for a new domain that I just registered called WordPress-tutorial-pdf.com. And I've entered those two name servers in this specify custom DNS servers, okay, your own DNS name servers. This is now telling Namecheap to point these things to Chris Farrell Hosting so it knows where to send or configure the internet, and anytime anybody enters in the future WordPress-tutorial.pdf, once this site is up and going, that's where they'll know to get it and that site will come up. Okay, so you have to basically copy these two name server codes from your hosting letter into the domain registrar, into the custom DNS servers boxes, and you'll be all set to go. Once that's done, all's hunky-dory, and life can go on merrily at that point. Okay, so I'm going to log out that because I don't need that anymore. And since this is about 5 minutes long and I want to keep this series of things relatively short, let me do a quick wrap up. What do you need to do? Well, after you've got your domain name, after you've got your hosting account set up, you need to make sure that the domain name servers at the registrar, in this case Namecheap, are actually pointing at the appropriate hosting service that you have, and in my case it's going to be chrisfarrellhosting.com, and here are the two name servers again in that initial letter you get. Okay, so let me stop this here and I'll be back with you in a minute.